arts practitioner in the world, on and off the set.
Some kid was sitting on a wall questioning whether he was just an actor, or could he really do any of the things that he had been doing. And Bruce walked close to him, and then it was just snap, and he hit him. And the kid had a bloody nose and raised his hands, and that was it.
To their eyes, he was like Billy the Kid. People would try and take pokes at him when he was walking down the street. But Bruce would just, use all the savvy that he developed and just play with these guys, and in fact would make a move on them and then correct their forms.
Though Bruce was physically fit and at the top of his game, something was seriously wrong.
He was training for something that would never come, a fight that would never happen. Bruce seemed to be on a 7-day-a-week schedule.
He was just working hard, and he knew it. But with the success of Enter the Dragon, he would have achieved that place where he could pick and choose a little bit, take his time to find the right properties and develop them. So he was on the cusp of realizing his dreams.
On May 10th, 1973, while editing Enter the Dragon in a Hong Kong studio, Bruce Lee became dizzy and collapsed. Rushed to the hospital, the actor appeared very close to death, although doctors couldn't determine the cause. Undergoing a battery of tests, he recovered sufficiently to return to work, and after completing Enter the Dragon, resumed work on the unfinished Game of Death.
He was working with a Chinese actress who he thought might be involved in the film as well. So he was at her house, and he complained that he had a headache. And she gave him a prescription tablet that she had called Equagesic. And he went into another room and lay down.
But when she couldn't wake him a few hours later, actress Betty Ting Pei called Raymond Chow.
The phone rang and they said, I don't know what happens, but I couldn't wake up Bruce. So why don't you come? So in a hurry, I went to Betty's place, and Bruce looked very pale.
Raymond Chow called me and told me I should go to the hospital. And so I took a taxi to the hospital, and I just remember that I couldn't ask if he had died. And I said, is he alive? And they said, no.
On July 20th, 1973, at the age of 32, Bruce Lee, martial arts master, was dead.
We were shocked. I definitely was shocked. My mom was, of course, she was torn apart really bad. Because she was so proud of Bruce.
And here was a man in the peak of health, and one day he just expired. No car accident, no external source, no great illness. And so people needed to find a reason.
But as news spread throughout the world, so did rumors that his death was no accident. Had he been murdered, some wondered? The target of retaliation by angry Hong Kong gangs? Some even speculated that Lee had been killed by a curse imposed by Asian martial arts masters, still angry that he had revealed their secrets to non-Asians.
As far as rumors of a curse or rumors of this and that, there's just no bearing. I mean, I suppose when someone passes away, you can say whatever you want. You could say he was done in by gremlins, but there's equal evidence for gremlins as there is for a curse.
An autopsy revealed the cause of Lee's death to be cerebral edema, or swelling of the brain, an allergic reaction to the pill he had taken to alleviate his headache.
The scientific medical evidence was extremely clear. So you may call it a freak accident, but absolutely nothing else.
Within days, more than 20,000 mourners crowded the streets of Hong Kong to pay their respects to the fallen superstar. Following a memorial service, his body was taken to Seattle, where Bruce and his wife had met and fallen in love. Among those at the funeral were close friends James Coburn and Steve McQueen, who served as pallbearers. At the age of only 32, Bruce Lee had left behind a wife, 2 children, and an unrivaled legacy in the world of entertainment and martial arts. But ironically, it would be the films in which he didn't appear where his legend would live on. desperate effort to salvage Bruce Lee's last film, the producers hired a look-alike actor and resorted to obvious and at times laughable camera tricks.
Cut! Okay, that's a print. That was great, Billy. Okay, everybody, get this.
But mixed results couldn't prevent Game of Death from being an enormous financial success. On the strength of 5 films, Bruce Lee had forever redefined the action movie genre and opened the doors for martial arts superstars like Jackie Chan, Chuck Norris, Steven Seagal, and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Just about everybody now who does action resorts to some form of karate or kickboxing or something like that.
But of all the actors who dared fill the fallen star's footprints, the one with the greatest chance seemed to be Bruce's only son, Brandon.
A weird question to me when people ask me about, following in my father's footsteps. Because if by that you mean doing really excellent films and doing the kind of work that my father did, doing that quality of work, that level of work, absolutely, absolutely that's what I want to do. But if you mean trying to imitate him in some way, trying to be a poor man's Bruce Lee, not at all. I started learning martial arts with my dad right about the time I could walk, and we moved from Hong Kong to Los Angeles a lot when I was growing up as we were following my father's career around. And the thing is, I always think to myself, no matter what happens to me in my career, it's probably never going to get as weird as it already was.
Having made a name for himself in a small number of modestly successful films, the young actor seemed poised on the brink of superstardom as the title character in the supernatural thriller, The Crow. But on March 31st, 1993, nearly 20 years after his father's untimely death, Brandon Lee was accidentally killed on the set by the misfiring of an unchecked prop gun. And like Game of Death, The Crow was completed with the aid of body doubles and special effects. Unfortunately, the bizarre circumstances surrounding Brandon Lee's death did little to quell the ever-growing myths about a mysterious curse.
With Brandon's death, there was a resurgence of the rumors about Bruce's death. There was a rehashing of them in the public again. And there was an attempt to connect the deaths of Bruce and Brandon. And really, that's a great disservice and a great tragedy, trying to connect it up with curses and falsehoods and rumors is not right. Brandon's death was the result of the most unfortunate and unlikely, freakish chain of events than that could ever be imagined. In a way, I'm glad that Bruce was not here to see this happen to Brandon, because it would have hurt him so badly, as it has all of us.
To millions around the world, the name Bruce Lee looms larger than ever. Magazines continue to print articles about him. Fan clubs are devoted to him, and his martial arts philosophy continues to attract a growing number of devoted followers.
One of the most amazing things from my perspective on Bruce Lee was that a man of 32 years of age could be so prolific. He created a new film genre, he created a self-help philosophy, which is absolutely brilliant, and he created a new martial art, which people have been carrying on since his passing. So the important thing about Bruce Lee is not how he died or that he died, it's that he lived.
To me, he's still alive, his spirit's still there, and we still train in his art.
He's probably the best friend you can have. He's very loyal. He once told me that if somebody is trying to attack you, I'll take them on. That's a friend.
The integrity with which Bruce lived his life, what he believed to be right, that is a clear example of the way it should be done. I remember he said, all right, if I'm gone for any reason, Don't get hooked up with all these people that they're going to be giving me parades. If they're giving me parades, something's wrong.
He was definitely somebody to look up to and something to aspire to. He had such a passion for life. I strive to have as much passion.
If I could, like, rewind time and do it all over again, I would have asked so many more questions and learned so much more.
He certainly left a gift for the rest of us, a path to follow, footsteps to follow, so that we can start in a direction and then find our own way, which was his lesson.
Be formless, shapeless, like water.